Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the Underworld. The Star Wars Underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The Underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the Underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun and it's all-round good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line.
What's up, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Underworld podcast. We are your source for the latest breaking Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion each and every week. And this week on the show, we'll be breaking down the first 4 shorts from Star Wars Visions Volume 3. And we're going to be discussing the latest Star Wars news, including more updates on the hunt for Ben Solo, plus answering your burning questions. On the show, we got my good friend, Mr. Dominic Jones.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. I got a lot to say. No, actually, I'm just looking forward to being here for a full show this week and not 15 minutes and then bailing. I'm very excited to talk about Visions. I will admit, I feel like I've not given this season of Visions the attention it deserves as of yet. I've watched the 4 episodes we're going to talk about, but I will admit to being marginally distracted by a certain game involving bases and balls and guys from the Dominican Republic and Japan and America and Canada and all that stuff. So I've been marginally distracted, but I got to watch 4 new episodes of a Star Wars show and the Blue Jays win a World Series game in the same day. So I feel like I'm living good right now. So it's going to be a great show.
That's amazing. I'm excited that Los Angeles has done its part with hosting. So I have more free time because that was a lot of work to help with that.
18 innings. It was so much fun all in one night.
I am so glad that in my capacity working for the LA Dodgers, I do not have to stay for the entire game. Because if I did, I would probably not be around right now to tell the tale. But I am. So very grateful for that capacity as the opener and not the closer for what they do over there. But yes, a little bit less distracted now, and we'll be a lot less distracted when that series is over for sure. But we'll be talking about the rest of Visions in the future as well. So tonight is not the only Visions conversation we're going to be having. Also joining us, hopefully he's a little bit less distracted than myself and Dom. It's Ben Hart the Solo. Wait, Ben Hart the Solo. Ben Solo. What's going on here? What's going on here?
Ben Hart, the solo guy. Ben Hart, the solo guy.
Yeah. Like Ben Hunt, the solo guy. Ben Hunt, the solo guy. Ben, you gotta hunt Ben Solo.
No lie, my last name has been mistaken for people named Hunt before. Because it does, like, I'll say like Hart, and then they'll like misinterpret it like Hunt. I'm like, okay, you're close enough. Yes, literally just finished Visions like 10 minutes ago myself. And only the first 4 episodes, like literally it was just like, we want to do the whole thing, but we literally only have time for like half of it. So we're going to do half tonight and then half next week. So stick around for that. It's going to be a whole big marathon thing. And honestly, having a chance to like dive deep into these things and not rush through them is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. But we have the cavalry here. That's right. To not just rely on us 3 and us rushing to watch the first 4 episodes of Visions as quickly as possible amidst our distraction and busy lives. From the Ion Cannon podcast, we have Joel Davis at JID20234.bsky.social. Welcome to the show, Joel.
They tell me to always put your Blue Sky information on your name, and that's what I do. But no, hello. Loving this Brady Bunch looking setup we got here with the so many squares. I'm in the center. There's a story of a Star Wars fandom. But no, I'm excited to be here. I saw all of Visions yesterday with a bunch of friends who all love anime. So I'm excited to talk about the first 4 and keep my mouth shut about the next 4. Hopefully there's no bleed through.
Amazing.
Joel, you make a good point because there have been a lot of weeks recently where we've had 2 or even 1 host. And this week we're like, you know what? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5.
Nice.
Yes.
Take it away, Chris.
It's a magic number.
Yeah,
So
that's
as
why
we
I
will-
offered to be on. I was really feeling sorry for you guys.
That's right. And that 5th band mate from the band F105, it's our good friend of the show, Den. Thank you so much for being on, Den.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to talk about these episodes. I've watched them twice, so you guys are lucky to have me on.
Thank you.
I saw the first 4 episodes twice myself, funny enough, because I watched them solo and then I watched them again with friends.
So let me ask you guys this while we're talking about Visions before we dive into it proper. When you watch Visions, are you watching it in Japanese with English subtitles, or are you watching the English dubs?
I watched the dubs this time. Okay, so
English dubs.
season 1, I watched the Japanese. Season 2, I watched it all dubbed because lost Ben.
We lost Ben.
Yeah, there we go. Something happened. Season 2, I watched it English because I didn't want to have to go through all the different languages because it could be different studios. And then season 3, I decided, you know what? I watch a lot of anime dub anyway. I'm just gonna watch the English dub. Maybe in another round I'll do the Japanese dub just to see any difference. But I decided I'm just gonna watch the dub like I do with my other anime shows that I do. So I decided to do dub.
Yeah, for me, it really depends on if something's live action or animated. Like if it's a live action foreign TV show or film in another language, I will 100% do subtitles because I can't just handle really seeing their mouths move and the sounds of not matching up with their mouths. It just drives my brain wild. But when it's animated, it's a little bit either certain times they reanimate around the different voices depending on if it's like CGI and easy to do that, or if it's not, it's so similar and they match it up so well that you can't really tell. Like as I was watching the first 4 episodes, like I couldn't tell at all that it wasn't originally in English. Like it sounded like not off to me, so I was fine doing that. But for some strange reason, and maybe it was supposed to be like this, I don't know, but because I didn't have subtitles on, only the dub, whenever there was text on the screen, the text was in Japanese, and
I noticed that.
wait.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they also do something about that?
Oh, like, it's blue, and it's a few words, and it's got an ellipsis behind it. Oh, that must mean that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That must be what that says. Oh, the other rest of it, I don't know.
The next one comes up, and you're like, "Oh, I'm screwed. Oh, darn."
Or whenever they were speaking an alien language that wasn't English or Japanese, then they had subtitles in Japanese for that alien language, and I'm like, wait.
So funny. I kind of love it. I kind of love that they're like, "Look, we'll give you the English versions." But you gotta work. You still gotta work to do this.
I guess I needed subtitles and a dub at the same time, which I did not realize.
Din, what about you? Do you watch it in the original Japanese?
I usually do, but I find that the English work on these episodes is really like top notch. So the performances really get me. And then the second time, I usually watch with the Japanese dub.
Yeah.
I was hoping for Chinese. I want to pick Chinese subtitles so I can watch with my partner. She loves anime.
There we go.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah, same for me. Watched English dubs. I have the same problems, Chris. If it's live action, I can't do it. I have to do subtitles. There's a great new Netflix documentary called "Who Killed the Montreal Expos," and it's half in French, half in English. And when you go to watch it on Netflix, it automatically puts it with English dubs over the French parts. Ooh. And it tripped me out. Ooh. And at first I'm like, am I just going crazy? Because there was a lot of quick cuts. And then I realized they were doing they were filming a radio call-in segment in Montreal. And all the English people were saying Montreal, which is how Americans say it, instead of Montreal or Montreal. And I'm like, oh, this is dubbed. I got to switch this. I got to fix this and hear this properly.
Wait,
But
we got to hear Ben and Chris say Montreal.
Wait a minute.
Montreal.
That's the Royal Mountain? That's Montreal, the Royal Mountain? I didn't even realize that till now. That's what that meant.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
I'll say, Joel, you just said it right. You said it right.
Oh, Angel.
Yeah, Montreal.
Okay.
Ben, how would you say the biggest city in Quebec?
I mean, it depends on who I'm surrounded by and what mood I'm in. But right now, I want to say just off the cuff, Montreal.
No, Montreal, not Montreal.
Montreal.
It's Montreal. Yeah, I say Montreal.
Like a moon.
Exactly, like Darth
Montreal.
Plagueis.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
strange is like, the area that I grew up in had a lot of people with French families. Like, my mother and my sister now have French last names. But that pronunciation died somehow.
All right, we're losing the plot a little bit here. Chris, let's
always happens when I'm on.
Yeah. Let's run through the plugs real quick, and then we can dive into these Visions apps.
It's time for the fastest 60 seconds in podcasting.
OGs know what we're talking about.
That's right. Super chat with us during the show. I'm guessing we're not going to get a lot of super chats. Unless Joel's super chatting, asking questions to himself, which maybe might happen. But please support us if you are able to. You can become a channel member as well if you want to support us without watching live. Please also sub to us and leave a review if you're just listening to the show on a podcast app and not watching it on YouTube. Check out our Discord. We got game nights, we got watch parties. Joel, what's going on tomorrow?
We almost had I decided, we are going to do Visions Volume 3 rewatch this Friday for Halloween. Hopefully most people are not doing Halloween things. But we're going to be watching it. We're going to watch it in English dubs for a movie night for people who haven't had a chance to see it. And I get to rewatch it a second time. And that's for the first 4 episodes, third time for me. So
amazing. Check that out. Link is in the description. And of course, check out all the other shows on the Star Wars Underworld Network, the Raeside Tales from Beyond the Galaxy Tractor Beam, and of course Joel's show, Ion Cannon. Do you guys know what you're talking about on Monday?
Yes, we're going to talk about the human supremacy question in Star Wars and how Star Wars has this very interesting on again, off again subplot of the Empire and the bad guys are human supremacists. Which is kind of one big allegory.
So check that out.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna get into Visions in 1 second. We have one more bit of Canadian pronunciation from Skywalker's Academy in the chat. I'm gonna throw this comment on the screen. We're referring to one of the biggest cities in Saskatchewan. What is Joel, Chris, and Ben? What is the correct pronunciation of the city?
Honestly, at some point I've been meaning to ask you what that is because I'm curious myself. When I see it, I want to say Regina because it sounds better, but I'm guessing that's not correct.
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always I've never obviously Regina is like my go-to for the first one because I wouldn't know any better, and then I usually just I just go with Saskatchewan. Like that just kind of rolls right out of my off my tongue.
Yeah, I don't have
even though I know it's probably not
Saskatchewan.
technically correct. It's just my southern brain and tongue just kind of smooths things out.
Oh my God! I just realized something. There's a famous Seinfeld episode where they can't find a word that rhymes with a certain female body part.
Well,
Chris, right there saying it the way I'm saying it.
It's right there. Yeah,
Regina.
Chris, you said it sounds better if you say Regina. Well, it actually sounds like fun. It's Regina.
I knew it.
All right. We're moving off of this shit. All right.
Sorry, man.
Thank you, Skywalker's Academy, for that. That was excellent. All right.
This problem has been going on for
wasn't this a Steve Carell bit where he meets a girl in a movie and he thinks her name is Gina, but it's actually not?
Almost certainly. That sounds very Steve Carell coded.
That sounds correct. Yeah.
I love that. All right, let's get into Star Wars Visions Volume 3. We're calling it Part 1. It's Part 1 for us. There's only one part to the actual season. We're going to talk through these 4 episodes these first 4 episodes. And we're going to start with The Duel Payback. It's produced by Kamikaze Duga and Anima. This is a sequel to a story from Volume 1 called The Duel. This is the black and white story where the lightsabers are in color, the crystals are in color, but everything else is black and white. And we will begin how we always do, go around the table, give initial impressions of this short film. And Ben, I'm not going to make you go first for every single one, but for the first one, we're going to throw it to you first. What do you think of The Duel Payback?
Well, it's good. You good let me go, because I got stuff to say. I got stuff to say now. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you throw it to me and I literally have no idea what I'm going to say. And sometimes I just have to make it up as I go. But now I have to say is I love this. I'm not sure I quite loved it as much as I loved the Duel, the original Duel. Because I really did like that's I think I've rewatched that one the most out of all of Star Wars Visions episodes, because it's a masterpiece, I think. But this one really ups the ante, I think, brings something new to the table. And this is a compliment that goes for all the episodes that I've seen so far. It's just like the imagination these creators put into just doing different things and taking Star Wars elements and mixing them up and also adding new things in. Crazy stuff. And I think just like this whole thing of like flipping it on its head and like having the Jedi be the bad guys, and this Sith Ronin guy, he's kind of the good guy, but what's his deal? And just like the whole setup for this, having these 2 AT-ATs and just like the whole mechanics of it and like the storytelling things and throwing in the Ewoks and all this kind of stuff. It's brilliant.
Ben,
and obviously, yes.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because I feel we don't have enough people on the show right now. I feel like we don't have enough people on.
Come on.
And it's time to add one more from down under. It's Hannah Raeside.
You need more people. You definitely
too
need
many
more
cooks
people.
in this kitchen.
We really are doing
Can
great.
you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Hannah.
Yes, you sound great.
Right.
Hannah,
hello.
Real quick, tell us where you are, because you have like a cool background.
Yes, I do have a cool background. Yeah, well, first of all, apologies for not being on the show, but it's kind of timely because I didn't watch Visions, and it'll probably take me a while to watch Visions. So thank you, Din and Joel, for being on today. I'm currently in Adelaide, South Australia, miles away from my home, attending Supernova Adelaide because none other than John Boyega and Diana Lena Santo is here at this convention. So I'm currently outside of it. It's kind of inside there, but I've just stepped out to say hey to everyone.
All right.
Fin movie.
Yeah, right. Like, you know what? I would honestly love to hear what John Boyega thinks of The Hunt for Ben Solo.
Oh,
I think
please ask him. Please ask.
I know.
I get an answer from John about
They're
that.
so touchy about like interviews with him, but if I get one, I don't want to get like a black X on my name to be like, she's the one that mentioned The Hunt for Ben Solo.
Oh, no.
Is there like a Q&A? Could you just put your hand up at a panel and be like, hello,
I could
John?
I could do that. There is a Q&A on tomorrow on the Saturday. I could do that. Just throw that. I mean, $20, someone doesn't already do it before me, to be honest.
Yeah. Or you could pay someone
$20
to do it for you.
Yes. Keep my reputation clean. That's the idea. Love it. That's great.
So
Other people under the bus. Easy. Amazing.
All those kids who ask Dave Filoni's questions, you know their parents give them $20 to ask him that.
There you go.
Exactly.
I've got my Ahsoka shirt on today as well.
Nice shirt.
So obviously to see Diana, so I'm very excited. It's good.
How
also,
has-
Charles Soule is here. Charles Soule, shout out to him.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yes.
Great.
How has Supernova Adelaide been so far?
It's been pretty good. This is the first day of it, and it's only like 2 hours in, so I'm pretty fresh to it. But it's great. It's a great venue, and Adelaide's a cool city, so it's cool. Have you guys heard of Adelaide? Because a lot of people from the US haven't.
No.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes,
You're
it's
cultured
in
people.
South Australia, right?
Have you heard
I've
of
heard of
Regina?
it. I've heard of it for a very specific reason,
Oh,
and that is
geez, some
because
baseball team was here or something.
no, that is because I'm gonna say 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, a little less. George Lucas.
Oh, that's
was
where that
photographed.
Yes,
in a food court,
my favorite photo
in a mall.
Yeah.
In
Was
Adelaide.
it in Adelaide?
Yes, eating
Yeah.
a plate of noodles that he had just bought from the random food court stand.
Yeah. He was just having a
Worth
plate
how
of
many
food. That's
billions
right.
of dollars? He is still a man of the people, walking into the food court, getting a plate of noodles.
Yeah, you showed him. You showed them,
Adelaide,
George.
Australia.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the only thing then this place is famous for. There's not much else. Unreal. That's
I
fantastic.
think you should all get plates of noodles at.
I think so. Maybe I should try and, find the food court and recreate the photo.
Yeah. Oh
You have
my
to.
gosh, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the task.
Yeah.
of
You
the
have a
day
mission now.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the con at this point. Like that's more
I mean,
important.
you gotta eat, you know.
to get that.
Bye-bye, Boyega.
Don't worry, Boyega. This is more
You
important.
can find the seller of the noodles and ask him what his life.
Yes.
was
Would you like? What was that
sell
day
to
like?
George?
George
Do you
is
remember
walking
when
up and
George
like,
Lucas walked in here?
"Can I get some noodles, please?"
Incredible. We should bring
So good.
John. Bring John over there and recreate the picture
to the
with
noodle
him.
court. Noodle court.
To the
Food
noodle court.
Noodles.
I'm sure it's a whole noodle
Man,
court.
they're gonna kick me out real fast if I go, "Hey, John, you want to come to the noodle court with me?" Oh, jeez.
This is a great plan.
Unreal. Anyway, I'll let you get back to your visions chatting. I'll hopefully be back. Well, I will be back, but I will be on the show next week. But yes, I maybe, depending on your review, maybe I'll watch it. So
Whoa.
we'll see.
No pressure.
We enjoyed the discussion, and sorry for interrupting. I'll catch you guys soon.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the rest of Supernova. Bye, Hannah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Ben, as you were saying, before you were so rudely interrupted. Okay.
I don't even remember what I was saying, other than the fact that the dual payback really good. Again, one of my favorites. I think up there with things, which I've enjoyed all the ones I've seen so far. But I think this one's probably my favorite of the bunch. Is the one as soon as I'm done with this obviously gonna need to rewatch it. If I pick out a few, that's gonna be one of them to rewatch.
All right. Din, over to you. What is your thoughts on the dual payback?
It was good.
Thanks, pal. Really glad you're here.
Put that on the cover.
It's good.
I just got to do my part to move this segment along because we're never going to do the episodes.
All right.
It was visually, it was stunning. It was gorgeous. They really put a lot of work into it visually, and it brought up some cool, touched on some cool philosophical ideas that I dig, and looking forward to talking about that.
Absolutely. All right, Chris, your thoughts?
I don't know why anime can be so referential of Star Wars, and I think it's great. But then when they do that in America, I think that they're just ripping something off and have no creativity. There's just something about the way that they reference things, that they transform it, and it's very subtle. It's very subtle. Like, as I'm watching this episode, the first thing that I notice is, wow, this has the vibes of Return of the Jedi. It has the vibes of Jabba's palace, but they're on like a completely different planet, and they're on this platform that, instead of like a sail barge, it's on top of like two walkers, and it's like everything's so different, and the visuals are so different that the fact that it has the vibes of Jabba's palace, it's so subtle that like it's just a feeling, not like in your face. And I thought that was really cool. Same thing with the music. The music was very reminiscent of John Williams, but it wasn't quite the same as John Williams. It was still unique, but it still had that very, very Star Wars John Williams beats and motifs to it, which was really, really interesting. And then the sound design too. There was just these little tiny hints of sound design in it. Like when they're hitting the shield, it sounds very much like the shield's getting hit in the Phantom Menace, but it's just a little tiny clip of it. It's not the exact same rhythm sound. It's just this tiny sample of it where you might not notice it unless you just like, I've seen that movie so many times the VHS doesn't work like me. So like I think I appreciated it for having the vibes of Return of the Jedi, a sound element and technical element from from the Phantom Menace, but then still also being like really unique and really, really different. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And as I feel about pretty much all of these shorts, I'm always sad that it's only like about 20 minutes because I'm like, I really want to sit down and watch a whole movie like this. It's really cool. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah,
absolutely. Joel, real quick, your thoughts.
Yeah, I really liked it. It just makes me more interested in the world of Ronin, which I know is expanded upon in a book called Ronin, which is actually really good. Whereas like the Jedi were like the Emperor's bodyguards and like who's the Emperor and blah 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 and all that sort of thing. So like this really made me interested, like more like what is this world of Ronin like? Because like clearly ain't the Star Wars galaxy I know, but it's because they're called the Crusaders or something. That's like, so I'm like I'm now interested like the wider world of Ronin and what's going on here. So yeah, a very good. Hope this maybe gets to become the next series after Ninth Jedi. There's a couple where I want like. There's a couple where I'm like, oh, I kind of want this one to be the next series. This one, but definitely Ronin probably maybe the next one because it's got a very good book and a comic. So definitely check those out. So yeah, really liked it.
Yeah, I read the book as well. I could not tell you what happens in it. I've forgotten it since I finished reading it, but I remember enjoying it. And I agree with a lot of what's been said. I think this style that the studio has gone with for both the original and this one does a really good job of remixing a lot of familiar visual elements, but presenting them in new ways, and then including enough new stuff on its own that it doesn't just feel like sometimes the Favreau Abrams stories do, where it's just like, oh, we've tweaked everything just a little bit, but it's the same as it was. And they do some of that, like, the AT-AT bar between the two AT-ATs. Like, that's a really cool concept. You have the two AT-ATs. That's very familiar. That's iconic. It's nostalgic. It's all the things that we love and we talk about. But they've presented them in a new way. And then they flip the AT-ATs over. And the fight on the, like, moving feet was fantastic. Cool. It was fantastic. And then snow Ewoks. How do we not talk about snow Ewoks? Were terrific. And yeah, as I think we'll get into right now, starting to tap into some different, more nuanced takes on the Force, or maybe takes that are divergent from what we typically, or what most people typically think of when they think of light and dark. Dan,
that's because they haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw it right back to you to talk a little bit about this and what the Ronin says about light and dark and the Force. I'm curious on your take on that.
Well, I mean, there's really when you think about all our emotional or psychological states, they all fall under two things: either love or fear. Everything you do in your life either falls under one of those two things. I'm not going to explain why, because I'll take up too much of the show. But basically what that means is it's either connection or separation. So you're either scared of the other thing or moment that was in the past or in the future, or you're connected to it and you've made balance with it out of that connection. So this episode explores, like, under fear you have anger, hate. You can now add judgmentalism to that. So this is a sort of a study in what judgmentalism is, which is basically another word for fear or separation. And so, nothing new is being said here. It's just different. It's just a different point of view, a different layer to what's been going on since Mortis, since I think George with Dave Filoni and the writer Christian Taylor tried to make it very precise about what the dark and light is, and what. So I think if you think this is truly Star Wars and not divergent at all, because really it means this Jedi isn't a Jedi because his inner state is fear. And out of that fear, he's judging other. And he's not seeing the connectivity of everything. So that's pretty cool. I think, just let me grab my thoughts here for 1 second. I think this has always been a theme that was hinted at, just for the very fact that the Ronin has a red lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I sort of feel like that trope with lightsaber colors needs to be reinvented. Star Wars has always taken its cues from, I mean, comes from right from George Lucas and Gary Kurtz's first story meetings on the Force. It's well documented from Eastern traditions. And, you know, sorry, I'm talking about red, right? The red, yeah.
Red, yeah.
So I think, yeah, I mean, what was the last thing I was talking about?
The red lightsaber revisiting the concept of
So the colors. So if they're going Eastern, I really feel like they should be going with chakra colors for the lightsabers. That the colors should be indicative of someone's emotional state. So in Eastern traditions, to be whole, is to basically have all your chakras not blocked or activated. So you got red is the lowest, like a rainbow. You got red at the bottom of your spine is survival, and then orange navel is sort of sexuality, and then an emotion, and then in the middle is yellow, and that's the middle chakra of the seven, and that's sort of where you feel anxiety. You know, so it's also your power source. So like all the other chakras revolve around it, like it's the sun. So I feel like, you know, the Jedi Temple Guard should be connected to that. You know, that they're about protecting and keeping the Jedi Temple secure. I'm hoping that Dave Filoni said the orange sabers of Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati mean something. And then next you have the green chakra, which is heart, which is unconditional love. You know, so if you're not feeling love, if you're feeling separation, then you basically can't move from one to the next one without it being active. And then blue is communication, two-way, you listen, you speak. Indigo is third eye, pineal gland, your connection to the Force. And then violet at the top would be like Mace Windu's lightsaber. Purple is the all of them together. And then when that happens, you have your light energy body activated, which is enlightenment. And it's visualized in other things like, you know, Gandalf putting the white light around himself to protect himself against the Balrog and all that. But what I'm trying to say about connectivity is that the red chakra should not be, it's like saying survival and, hunting to kill for food or whatever, all that stuff, fire. You need in the oneness of the universe, you need the fire of destruction for creation to happen. It should be reevaluated and not looked at as evil. It's sort of like the rainbow is, I'll just sort of end on this one. The rainbow is the same thing, the 7 colors that we could see. You know, our eyes don't see the whole color spectrum of what exists in this universe of photons, in the black, dark void of space. The red is at the bottom of the circle. So rainbow actually goes in a circle. We only see the top half. And the top is violet, and it's the longer. So the violet is the outer circle. So it's the biggest, so it goes the slowest. It's the calmest. And at the bottom, you have red, which is the smallest circle. So the photons seem to travel faster because it's a smaller circle. So that's just part of the whole. Quicker, easier, more seductive.
I think it's interesting because one of the things that, you know, is said in this episode, and we're talking about it being different than the message of a lot of Star Wars, is needing both the light side and the dark side. I've always had the interpretation of the original trilogy that Luke Skywalker is actually a combination of the light side and the dark side, not the light side triumphing over the dark. And the reason why is because I've always thought of Obi-Wan and Yoda's interpretation of the Force as the light side, and as Luke Skywalker correctly disagreeing with their interpretation of the Force and actually putting more dark side elements into that. And it's just the imbalance of being all light and all dark that's the problem. the Jedi of the prequels were all light and they fell. The Sith of the original trilogy were all dark and they fell. It took Luke Skywalker a balance of the two, the kind of which is symbolically represented by him wearing black and then having white on the inside of his black outfit, that is able to restore balance to the galaxy. And with the help of Vader, who also is a combination of light and dark. I mean, Vader did something out of his love for his son. He killed the Emperor, which is not actually a light side action. He did it out of passion. He did it out of emotion. That was a dark side thing, and that's why he was the chosen one that was prophesied about. So that's yin and yang, a bit of light and dark, a bit of dark and light. That's balance from that Eastern philosophy. So then if we bring it into this kind of interesting idea of a gradient of colors, it's very interesting to view people as not good people and evil people, but just a bunch of people who are on a continuum of evolution with their inner journeys of themselves. And if you sequentialize that inner journey through the psychological analogs of the chakras, it's almost like a hierarchy of needs, where your first needs are your material needs. Like you need food, you need shelter, you need resources and protection to survive. And that's what is represented by the color red and the first chakra in that chakra system. So
creation or just the destruction part.
Yeah. And if all
fire.
You care about is, protecting yourself, and you aren't connected to any of those other aspects of being, like the flow of creation and the second chakra, the balance of energy and power and personal agency and the third chakra, or the love and connection and compassion for other beings in the fourth green chakra, the ability to communicate, the ability to see, the ability to be one with the force and everything in the higher ones, blue, indigo, and violet. Then if you're just red, you're going to try to control and manipulate things around you out of fear in order to get those resources that you need. And it's only when you realize that you don't need to be afraid, that you just need to move up through different types of energies and connections and ways of being and evolve your personal self into those other colors that are frequency photon analogs of these philosophical ideas and these spiritual and mystical ideas. That's when you get out of that. So in that way, it's not.
Can I just add one thing before I forget? Well, Joseph Campbell says you can't exist without participating in evil. And this is one of those ways. I mean, you had to, in your red chakra, you had to kill an animal to eat. You had to kill a plant, whatever. You had to use a resource. You had to you buy a bottled water, which got thrown into the ocean. You cannot not participate in evil. But if in your red from the other higher chakras of oneness and compassion, then you're only going to destroy what you need to. Not be like a you're not going to be going to be a trillionaire winner of everything like Elon Musk, who's taking way more than they need from the red chakra. So that's where like fear and judgmentalism comes into this. Is like that you're viewing the chakras as separate, you're viewing others as separate, and from that fear, you then judge and hate.
I've always thought one thing about the whole light and dark balance thing, which I think a lot of Star Wars fans miss, though. In the original trilogy, they never say light side. They just say there's the Force and there's the dark side. The actual term light side never gets used once. And I checked. You can go back and look at the original trilogy, 4, 5, 6. Light side actually never gets mentioned. That's a prequel thing. And then it's light and dark. So I've always found that interesting. That's kind of my first little thing. And my second thing is I've always sort of viewed it as more... You live in the High Republic actually said something in one of those audio dramas, which I actually really like. I think it's also kind of what the Yoda arc's getting at as well, where you try to live in the light, but you have to acknowledge you have darkness. And I think the problem with Jedi is that they try to ignore that they have darkness. Like, no, we're all light, guys. That
was the Yoda arc.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, that's the Yoda arc, and then they say it again in High Republic,
which is the prequel trilogy in and of itself. Like the Yoda arc is just like the prequel trilogy condensed down into the.
I don't think it's like you got to balance your light and dark so much as you got to just acknowledge you exist, because obviously, you don't want to give in to anger and hatred. It's like I got to have a little bit of anger in my life. You got to try to find zen, but you got to acknowledge it's still there.
Yeah.
If you're ignoring it's there, then that's just going to cause you a lot of emotional repression that's just going to come out in very unhealthy ways.
Well, that's what darkness is. Like if you're looking at it from like an interpretation, like a Carl Jung like interpretation, which very much influenced Campbell, which very much influenced Lucas. You have that shadow self, which is just that everything that you've repressed, that collective unconsciousness, which is underneath your consciousness. And it's only when you acknowledge that and realize what that is, and then reintegrate that back into yourself, that you become your full self. And again, that's that idea of the shadow doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to be reintegrated. And the full, complete self that is actualized and individuated is the word that is used by Jung for it. Is incorporated of both in that very yin-yang concept idea.
Can I add one more thing? Because I'm going to talk like almost nothing for the. I just wanted to get in what I wanted to say for this episode, and I won't talk much for the next ones. But when we go back to the theme of judgmentalism and the balance of dark and light, you cannot judge the dark, because without the dark and the void of space, there would be no way for the light of the stars to exist. So judge not the dark, because in the absence of what you are not, you can't be. So that's what balance is. Balance is actually the fact that the universe is just creation and destruction and dark and light. And it's completely separate from morality. Has no care in the world for morality. A comet will come by and it'll destroy the dinosaurs. That's just the way it is. And we are made of the same atoms that comet was and the dinosaurs are. And you simply, balance means, if you look at it from the Egyptian Book of the Dead stuff, when you die, you got the scale, like a Libra scale, and if your heart is heavier, your heart, good deeds on one side and the bad deeds on the other. If your heart is heavier because the bad outweighs the good, then you're not going to heaven, as it were.
I just want to add, because this all just makes me again want to know, what is this world like? Because the Jedi guy who's like a robot, who I swear I thought was voiced by David Tennant for a good chunk of it. I checked, it's not. You're talking about judgmentalism. I mean, this guy clearly is judging our Ronin ex-Sith guy, because apparently, like always, there's Jedi Sith wars. And I just kind of want to know, they call themselves the Crusaders. That's already has lots of connotations already. Like real life Crusaders.
Yeah.
And I just, clearly this guy's got a lot of PTSD against this guy. I mean, hey, I would too, to be fair. I mean, if I lost my legs and throat, I wouldn't be happy. And he's just so hooked on just killing these guys, even though they're ex-Sith. And I'm like, what were even the Sith like in this universe? Because, in terms of depiction of dark side characters outside of Vader and, I guess, Kylo Ren and a little bit of Balin, most of the dark side characters we see in Star Wars, Palpatine, Snoke, a little bit of Dooku, they're pretty bad, and I feel like, we gotta stop those guys. They're nasties. The Ronin guy, he seems a little harsh, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Just seems like a cranky guy. And again, it just kind of makes me want to know this world and these Jedi Crusaders who were bodyguards of this Emperor, and I want to know what the Emperor's like, and is he a Jedi Emperor? And I don't know. The philosophy of this also just makes me want to know, what is this Star Wars galaxy?
It's still the same though, because it's like what Kanan says. It's how we choose to win, and that really ultimately means the internal battle. So is this Jedi going in this episode? Is he going to do what he's doing out of necessity, that the bad has to be stopped? And is he coming from a place of peace and balance inside about that, or is he coming at it from a place of hate and judgmentalism? And so he's already lost the battle.
It reminds me of the C.S. Lewis, the final novel in the Narnia series, Last Battle, where there's like Narnia is destroyed and there's this afterlife area, and they come to find out that it's not like all the Narnians are there and all the people from their enemies are they're presented as the bad guys in the movies are not there. It's actually a mixture of the both, because it's the heroes from both sides that make it to the afterlife. And there are people that actually fought for the good guys that didn't, because they were doing it the wrong way for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And people who were part of and supported the bad guys that were in this afterlife, in this like Narnia heaven scenario, because they were honorable, even though they were on the other side.
I honestly was thinking more Mace Windu about to kill Palpatine in episode 3, because like on the one hand, Palpatine not a good guy. I don't think anyone would think that. But on the other hand, Mace is kind of a little bit got his blind spots on. He's a little testy, to say the least. And I'm like, ooh, if you actually went through with this, it's like, is your soul going to be okay? I mean, I don't even know if the Republic's going to be okay, let alone your soul. I mean, obviously the Republic falls anyway. But if Mace did that, I don't know, man.
I mean, let's talk about how the thing that triggered Anakin into going after Mace was because Mace was going to kill Palpatine. And if he had just said, all right, let's handcuff this dude, maybe Anakin wouldn't have flipped out like that, and that wouldn't have happened. It actually would have turned out better for everyone.
Except that he was coming at it from the red root chakra. He was just he just needed Palpatine because of Padme. When he just did the same thing with Dooku, he just executed Dooku. About the balance of light and dark. I think important thing to remember from Mortis and how it sets up all this stuff is that the Father says too much light or too much darkness would be the undoing of life as you know it in your galaxy. And when it comes to the internal thing, it could be, Chris said so eloquently about the chakras, which is that if you're always in the light ones and you're forgetting to eat and take care of all your basic needs, then you're just going to die. It's kind of like that. If the Earth was too close to the sun, it would just burn.
Yeah, if I can reference another show, one of the best shows I think of the last decade is The Good Place, and there's an episode where Michael McKean plays a character who his whole thing is basically he's only doing good, quote unquote. So he accidentally steps on a snail and kills it. Well, now he has to go and donate all of his money to a snail charity. So he has to walk there to give them cash. So he's going to be gone for 5 days so he can go and donate all the money that he has, which is like $17.50. So he's it's a comedy, so it's still.
I gotta
funny,
watch
right?
this show.
It's so good, you really do. But it's like he is actually not actually doing any good because he's giving up on himself, on his family, on anybody that might need him for something to go and make this minuscule donation that won't actually help snails in the long run. And in doing so and leaving and going and doing it the way he's doing it, which is supposedly the ethical, quote unquote, way to do it, he is causing harm for other people through those actions. And as a result, I'm not as well read in this stuff that you guys are talking about, so I can't quite put it as eloquently as either of you can. And so I thank you for being able to do that for me. But that it's building, I think, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, I think it's playing into that same idea of too much light is not actually a good thing. You need that balance.
Yeah, I mean, this is Taoism, this is Hinduism, this is all that stuff, and it's new spirituality. So I really think it is, and I really think the writers in Hollywood, because I see, I think there's been a paradigm shift towards this stuff in everything, and actually the Clone Wars was kind of, and Mortis was kind of like the first of it, and now it's everywhere. And I think they're all reading the same people. It's basically stuff like Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chakra. The list goes on. And those guys are just distilling what was already there in the ancient traditions into a way that we can digest it.
Yeah.
But I think all these Hollywood writers are reading the same things. I'm pretty sure George probably gave Christian Taylor and everyone the book book list to read
Oh,
because the ideas
yeah.
are
Probably.
sound and they're the same. They're the same in everything, pretty much, just from a different point of view.
I mean, it's when you look at. Sorry, I was just going to say specifically about that. Like again, it's like George Lucas getting ideas from Campbell. You know, both of them getting ideas from Young, and then you go back to the early days of science fiction as well with like Aldous Huxley. Like Aldous Huxley is getting ideas from Swamis from India. So it's like, yes, they all definitely have that same genesis of philosophy going back to that new thought movement going at the end of the 1800s into the 1900s.
Because even that original treatise on the Force with Gary Kurtz, when George was writing the first Star Wars, was talking about one of the some significant new agey guy that was in LA at the time that was very popular, that was espousing the same kinds of things. But the Clone Wars, the season, Joel was saying he saw it today, the season 3 Blu-ray, Dave Filoni says for the Mortis feature, when you click on it, he's like, yeah, well, we were going to do a feature and we decided not to because that would take away your ability to think about it. But it definitely is intentional. And he also said, we're not going to see the end of it, or we're not going to not find out what it means. So hopefully that's coming in Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah,
I think this went on quite a while, and I'm sorry for all the time I took up, but I've really been wanting to dive into this. And I think that basically we just did this better than any other podcast or show out there. So.
I've never heard anyone connected to Star Wars in that way. So.
I mean, I'll wrap it up. One more thing is saying this is why I love Visions the most, because look, I mean, as Tim was saying, I'm sure a lot of people in Hollywood do read this stuff, but I think there is something, to say it, authentic when it's coming from actual people in Japan. They played for this.
Sure.
Yep. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yep. George understood it, and I'm sure Dave understands. But like, there's still Americans. It's still like second tier. This is actual Japan. This is the culture. This is where they grow up. And so to kind of like George was inspired by Kurosawa and the Hidden Fortress. Here's the people who made the Hidden Fortress, making Star Wars. The actual people,
if I may, this is why diversity is important. Because everyone in everyone has their hot take about Hollywood is, well, everything's the same. Everything's just all the time. They make the same movies over and over again. Well, maybe that's why you keep hiring the same type of people over and over and over again. Maybe if you get other perspectives from other cultures and other genders and other people on the other side of the world, maybe you'll get something different. And here's what we're looking at right here.
Definitely.
There you go.
I fucking love Star Wars Visions. It's great. Fabulous discussions. No apologies needed. We will move on. But I'm sure that is not the last we will talk of the dual payback or the world of the Ronin, because it is a fascinating one to revisit and one that gets us to think about the Star Wars Galaxy Prime in different ways. And I love that. We'll move on now to the Song of Four Wings by Project Studio Q. This one, a story of a rebel princess. I think this is right? This runs the rebel princess on a snowy planet, not Leia, although I'm going to tell my kids that this was Mara Jade. Basically...
Mara Jade, the princess in canon now? Oh, they're retconning it.
Yeah. Chris, I'll throw it to you for your initial thoughts on this one.
There were some just very general aspects of her design. Reminded me of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind a little bit, which is a Studio Ghibli movie from Japan. And I love the taiga environment. It's one of my favorite environments, with not just a Hoth like snow, but also like pine trees and things. I thought that was really fantastic. And this was just a really fun adventure, a story that definitely got emotional. I felt like, her connection with the little village kid that she helped rescue reminded me a lot of kids movies from Japan going back many decades. with the kind of idea of like a lost child, and also connection to kind of almost like analogs for spirit animals, but it's an alien in Star Wars. And the inclusion of origami as well, I thought was really, really, really cool as well, and how that actually kind of featured into the story. So this was really, really fun, and an amazing one-off story that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Joel, your thoughts?
Of the four, I'm trying to think. I mean, look, when I say this is my least favorite, it's like saying a 9.9 is, and they're all 20s, or something like that. Like that's like, that's Visions for me in a nutshell. But no, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna point this out, and it's something that also the last episode had as well, and kind of next year gonna have A+ on the droids, man. There's just something about the droids this whole season,
You're right.
and especially these last 4 episodes, where it's like, they're giving a lot of love to the droids, and it's like, droids are people, my friend, and like, heck yeah, droid liberation and all that good stuff. But no, it was very fun. I got Guardians of the Galaxy with that opening vibe of like putting in the cassette tape, and I just picked that, like,
That's true.
I was watching with friends, and it's like when the princess turned into like the X-wing Transformer Gundam thing. It's like, where was this for the Rebel Alliance? And where's Rebels R&D department? Where are you?
Why now?
That's true.
I know, right? I guess Rebels fly now. But no, I mean, that was awesome. But it made me want to go like, dang, I want Hideki Anno to do one of these and just do full on Star Wars mechs, Evangelion short style, and just trip out, like Anno does. Because like, dang, like let's go full on next time. Let's do Star Wars mechs, mech suits, full on giant mech robots. But no, this was fun. I like the animation, very 2D and fluid with that sort of 3D modeling. That was very fun. Cute characters. That's kind of all I got to say. And I was wondering if that was Admiral Akbar the whole time.
Me too. I was shocked when I found out it was not.
I know. But yeah,
Admiral Akbar's long lost identical cousin.
I forgot the name of this character, but I know that it was the name of a plant. Basil. Admiral Basil.
Oh,
okay.
The second best Basil in all of Star Wars.
Second best.
Ben, let's go to you next. What do you think of this one?
Yeah. No. So it's funny you mentioned the influences seems to be like Transformers and all this kind of stuff. I also caught the little dude that she rescues gave me a Gremlins vibe. Gave me I had kind of like a Gizmo kind of vibe to him. And just this is a fun little adventure. I like that. I think there's some other stories, especially the last one we're going to talk about tonight. Like there's a big narrative of like going here and there and all this kind of stuff. Like they try to pack a lot into one story, which I think is saying like we've seen this happen a million times with Star Wars. Like there's so many Clone Wars episodes that feel like movies, but this is like some of these like 20 minutes. This one's just like very simple, straightforward. She's on a speeder bike. She's going to do this thing, and she's rescued, and they get the heck out of there, and then they have a battle, and then it's great, and then it's just this. That's what's great about Visions is that it does not veer away from the wackiness. It drives right into it. I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense, but it's cool. Let's do this thing. Let's have her turn into a transformer. Let's have the droid turn into this thing again. As you're saying, the droids top tier. Like I said, I've only seen half of this, but like the droids have been the standout this season. I don't know why, but there's been some great droids, and I can't wait to talk about the last one too. That was my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking, there's four episodes we're talking about, 4 great droids. Din, what did you think?
Well, I'm going to take a guess that there's certain suggestions that come from Lucasfilm of themes that they want explored in a season. I'm just going to take a guess that maybe droids, as droids were a focus for them, and maybe that's an attempt to be relevant right now in an age of AI, emergence or I think that's probably for a reason, and that's the heart of. I think there's 2 things that are heart in this episode and in a lot of episodes in general, which is that comes from the whole fear of separation thing, right? Which was very George too. He said in The New Hope that the discriminated people of the galaxy were actually the droids.
Right.
And that's why they weren't allowed into the bar. And I think that that's really important right now because AI is here. The Pandora's box is open. The cat's out of the bag. And it's pattern recognition technology that might be conscious one day. I believe it will be. And what patterns are it going to recognize? Or is it going to, like the scale? Are there going to be enough people with heart treating it well and with kindness and compassionate and not like separate and not as a thing to be abused or used? And what's it going to remember? So how are we training it? How are the programmers training it too? But we learned from the way Musk was training his Grok AI to be less politically incorrect, and it basically turned into like cyber Hitler. So we have two things. We have the responsibility of the programmers, but we as users of droids are going to have to take responsibility for the type of relationships we make with them. And I think that might be coming from Lucasfilm. And then what's very Japanese animation, maybe just Japanese cinema in general, which I've always loved. Whether it's like Godzilla -1 and then finding the little girl whose parents were a kid in the wreck of the city. Like that movie moves me more emotionally than probably any movie I've seen in the last 10 years. And then anything Miyazaki, and I don't know if it's all Japanese animation. I haven't seen enough of it. I've seen a fair bit. But all of this stuff, there's like a real heart to their spirit that they put in all these stories, which is about having compassion and empathy for the other, for the downtrodden, for the forgotten about, for the lost soul, for the disenfranchised, for the baby, for the homeless. Like there's a real heart that gets communicated in this Japanese stuff that all these stories have, and this one does too. And I love the color. The colors are really joyful. So yeah, that's shortest I could talk on this one.
I mean,
you have the floor, Chris.
I mean, you had to add your point, Dan. When I did on my podcast, talking about droids. You always notice in Star Wars, the bad guys, they just treat their droids as tools, like B1s, B2s, like just kill, fire, whatever, then wipe them down. Jedi, the good guys, the rebels, Luke, they're either. It kind of goes back and forth depending on the droid itself. It's like they're either your best friend or kind of your pet, right? R2D2 and BB-8 are the dog, and Chopper's the cat. K2SO was a security droid in the Empire, and then he was Cassian's partner in crime and best buddy in the Rogue One in the last season of Andor. So it's very true. And I am kind of curious if you're right, if there's like a theme of droids this season, because last season I feel like the theme was kind of a mix of oppression and environmentalism, probably because there was a lot of countries that were colonized, down south and stuff like that. And then season 1 probably very Jedi focused because Japan, the Jedi, the samurai, kind of that connection. So I could totally see that kind of being like, hey, maybe here's a suggestion, guys. So yeah,
for sure, yeah. It's a bit of a departure, as you guys have pointed out, from a lot of season 1 of Visions. It gets into, I don't think we had any real like Rebel Imperial storylines. That was much more of a season 2 thing. And so it's interesting to see it evolve. And I honestly had not picked up on the droid thing. Now that you guys have pointed it out, as I return to watching volume 3, excuse me, I will be watching for it in the back half to be sure. But, I can't really add much more to this discussion other than to say I also loved this episode. I thought it was fun, good, strong characters, a lot of heart, exactly what you want from a classic Star Wars short story. Love it. All right. Anything else anyone want to say about Song of Four Winds, or should we move on to the Ninth Jedi?
Let's go.
All right, let's move on to the Ninth Jedi. Child of Hope Production IG is the studio behind it. Obviously, I think eyes are a little bit more focused in on this one, knowing that a full series is in development, is in the works, is coming next year. So this story, when it ends on the to be continued, that's not a hopeful maybe we'll get to tell more of this story. It is a promise that this story will continue. Joel, I'll throw it right to you first on this one. What did you think of the Ninth Jedi Part 2 here?
What did I think? Tato. My boy. I felt so hard. I felt feels I've never felt before with that guy, with that little droid. Oh no, I quite enjoyed this one. This was the one I was anticipating the most as well, and it delivered. Again, Tato, man, he came through. He was a real one. I was getting emotional at the end there, like Kara. No, it was a good one. Very interesting. Kara's still looking for her father. The animation gorgeous. Very again interesting to kind of see what the world is like of Star Wars. Like, what is kind of the status quo? Why are these Jedi being hunted? That sort of thing. It was interesting, kind of though, that the other characters didn't have much of a presence this time around, like the Margrave and the guy and the alien. It was really just Kara and the droid, Teto. But again, it was really good. And again, just Teto being like just dying, knowing that Kara is gonna be a great Jedi and save the universe. Ugh, the feels, man, feel for that little guy. Ugh, it was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, and a great performance both from the voice actor, Freddie Highmore, and from the animators giving it the eyes. There was so much emotion in the eyes of this little robot. Ben, over to you next for your thoughts on the Ninth Jedi.
Yeah, no, I think it was a great follow up. Like it's hard to top the first Hot Ninth Jedi. Just that reveal, that first time watching Ninth Jedi, I'm just like, kind of going through it and not knowing what it's all in store, and like the crux of the lightsabers being key to the emotions of the user, and that being a revealing factor in like all the Jedi actually being Sith in the end. Like, you can't top that. Like, that's such a that's a quintessential, like, that's like if a Mount Rushmore of Star Wars stories, like Ninth Jedi is up there for me, because it's so great. This is a great continuation of that, I think. And I think Kara, I think you're brought in by the fact that you really care about the Margrave and obviously Kara's story and her worry about her father. And then obviously the droid comes in, Teto, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? I don't know. Really, again, you're kind of pulled in by this, and then you're just fall in love with these characters. And it's heartbreaking. it's this feels there towards the end that I was not expecting. I got a few kind of eyebrows raised. People were talking online about how this episode was unexpected. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, I saw it. I realized real quick what they were talking about, and tough stuff. But yeah, I'm very, very excited by this. I love these characters, and I'm glad that we're getting more of this. I think I would be angry if we didn't already have that Ninth Jedi series announcement. Like, what do you mean to be continued? No, okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm patient.
One thing I would love to know is if Production IG and the guys that made this, if they knew when they were making this one, if the series was either happening or a possibility. Because I feel like you compare this one to the Duel, the sequel to the Duel, right? And I feel like that crew working on the Duel went all in the sequel on let's create this universe, let's build this out, let's say a lot of what we want to say about a lot of big picture ideas in the Star Wars galaxy, because we don't know if we're going to have another shot at this. We don't know how many more goes at this we're going to get to do. So let's put it all in this. Whereas with Ninth Jedi, Ben, as you point out, that twist in the first episode is so good and so brilliant. I think that's what made all of us that are excited about this series excited about the potential for more. And if their plan, not knowing that they got to do more, was to follow it up with something like this that doesn't really answer those questions, that goes right into like, let's just do a character piece on Kara. That's bold AF to just do that and say we're going to worry about the story, we're going to do a character piece. If they knew they had the season, the full series coming, then I think, okay, that this sort of makes sense. But either way, it is kind of like it's demonstrating to us that there is more to Kara, the world of the Ninth Jedi, and this studio than just that one really good twist.
I would
They
just say,
show they Joel. Let me finish this real quick. They say in this story and telling the story that we have enough here to do good stories on their own. This is essentially a standalone episode. It's not necessarily part of the larger arc, but it hits you where it counts with the emotions, with Teto, with Kara, with that whole storyline, and it just gives you a sense that when this becomes a full series, that we can expect episodes of this quality on the regular, whether they are big epic moments like in the original or just quieter character stories. That's what I'm getting at here. Joel, jump in.
I would say the chances were pretty high because knowing what I know about animation production, those sorts of decisions are made years in advance. Like something like even the mall show right now, probably that decision was probably made 2 or 3 years ago at most. So I would not be shocked if like they knew well in advance with this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dan, let me throw it to you. What did you think of the Ninth Jedi, Child of Hope?
Well, I would second what Joel said. I mean, they definitely knew where they were going, and they got some big money thrown at them to do it, because the visuals of every second of those 20 minutes are out of this world. Like the backgrounds, the foreground, middle ground, background, like the layering of like this would be awesome in 3D, but whether it was that ice water environment or whether it was the trees, those forest shots, like when I was watching this episode, I was like, thank you for doing what Star Wars hasn't done for me since George left, which is just give me like visual art that makes my jaw drop. I mean, there's been moments, at least, most movies have had maybe one moment, but for George, it was like every time you release something, your jaw would be dropped almost the whole movie. I think a lot like when I first saw the first Ninth Jedi, the twist is the crown jewel of that episode. But really what makes that whole thing is the music and the pacing. I mean, it's a lot like The Force Awakens. You really it really echoes The Force Awakens, and you get like sucked into, what's her name?
Kara.
You get sucked into her as a character and the whole magic and the wonder of her, like Rey, and it's the way they crafted it with the visuals and the music and her story beats that really showed that this was a piece of like big storytelling in cinema, or it suggested it could be really big and it could go somewhere. To me, like it seemed like a little movie, a little Star Wars movie. And what this does, it's kind of like what you were saying, it's bold. It's like Empire Strikes Back. It goes, okay, we don't need any of those. We don't need to give you a big twist. We don't need any of that now. What we need to do is we need to fulfill the promise of that this is a character worth caring about for real. And maybe that's why the name was chosen, Kara, caring, because Star Wars names are, I don't know, it could be reaching there. But when she cries for Teto, I just fell in love with her, and I couldn't wait to see more of her. Like just based on that strong emotional feeling I had. Like art, George, what did George say? Art is only emotion. Picasso said that too. And like sometimes in a lot of stuff these days, I'm just dying for something to move me emotionally and not just sort of try to use all the tricks of what they think an audience likes. It's like, can you actually just really just activate my heart to care about a character? And this did that to the point of where it's like, if they keep going this way, they can start outshining a lot of other Star Wars material. If they get people to care about the character, I think for all the things that I consider are weaknesses or flaws of The Rise of Skywalker, the one thing that I liked about that film was I really cared about just Rey and Ben. I cared about Rose too, but they sidelined her, so that sucked. But that movie did keep keep me emotionally involved with those two. And I think that's what this whole thing about the hunt for Ben Solo, that, you know, this whole online movement that Ben started. I think it shows that people just really essentially want characters that they feel something for. And that's what this did.
Yeah,
For me.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I like that comparison that it's Empire Strikes Back. We don't need another Death Star. We don't need another twist that's the equivalent of what we got in part 1. Now we need to sit down with these characters. And Teto has a bit of the Yoda about him in a way. Like, he's not Yoda. He's not that same kind of character.
His stew is good.
he's fulfilling a similar role. Chris, let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big difference between a lot of Western animation and Eastern animation, is that I feel like Western animation, the creators go into it thinking about the plot and what the story's about. And I think in Eastern animation, a lot of the creators go into what are people supposed to feel when they watch this? And I think they start with that and then build the plot around it. And it's very obvious that there is that difference. And I think that, you know, in general, while I'm in general a fan of Western Star Wars animation and everything that, you know, Dave Filoni's done and Jennifer Corbin and Brett Rao done and things like that, I still feel like it's not quite at the level of that Studio Ghibli, you know, stuff that, you know, we're comparing Visions to, and lots of other Japanese media as well. And I think it's, again, going off of the plot versus the feelings of it and what's kind of what you build the story around. It's almost like one way is to tell a story, have the plot, and then be like, well, the audience should feel this way at this point in the plot. Instead of, no, we just want the audience to feel this way, so we're going to add this plot device in order for them to feel that way. Again, it's that what's coming first, the cart or the horse type situation.
Yeah,
and I think the horse, you know, should be the feelings. And so I think that's why this is so good. I think that's why all these episodes are so good. And then I also agree so much about the visuals, like Dan was saying, that visuals really struck me. And the thing that, it's something that I really like, and I don't, it's difficult. I don't know how to quite phrase this, so I apologize if I don't phrase this right. But I've always found it interesting how Eastern media portrays European styles. I think it's very interesting to me because it almost brings things that would be considered realism to us into a fantasy, because it's just a little bit different, because it's not again necessarily their world that they're replicating. So for example, you know, you see kind of a Japanese style to like architecture and the way that things are built in a lot of these episodes, and then in this particular one, there's almost this kind of Tudor Gothic, like Pan-Germanic like style. There's lots of like stained glass windows and kind of these castle-like, mansion-like buildings that are very reminiscent of that European style, but then not quite, more of a fantastical depiction of it rather than a realistic, you know, historically realistic depiction of it. And I thought that was really, really, really interesting. I thought it was interesting how this ship/space station had environments that looked like you were just on a planet. And that's something that I've always thought was interesting about other science fiction that necessarily isn't brought into Star Wars. Star Wars has this very dystopian used universe type feel to it. It doesn't often go into that version of sci-fi that is very utopian. And so I thought this episode was interesting because there was almost this utopian vibe to the way that the ship was designed, but then the dystopian layer of, you know, it's been ransacked and people have come in and stripped it for parts and it's all, you know, falling apart and statues falling over and all this stuff. So I think that the visual elements were just very interesting from an artistic point of view, beyond the fact that they were just so ever present and there was so much depth to them. The actual direction of the styles themselves and their historical references were very, very interesting and something that we don't see as much in Western Star Wars. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because like Visions itself is taking something. It's George Lucas being a fan of and taking influences from Eastern stuff, putting that very very crudely, and then like doing his own thing with it, but then Eastern people coming like, oh, okay, we like this thing too. You took our stuff and you did something with it, so now we're gonna take it back. We're gonna put it through our lens again. And like seeing how that comes about and seeing through all these things, through all the Visions episodes we've gotten so far, of just like how that things and how that translates to, last season we got, other cultures too kind of doing that and how they interpret Star Wars, not just Japanese. So like I think it's very interesting to come back to Japan in this season, because like I said, I think I enjoyed the first season more than the second season. And so far I'm enjoying the second season more than I'm enjoying the third season more than the second season so far. Don't want to make any bold proclamations yet, but yeah, it's just, I think different cultures, how we approach different things and very specific things that are a part of different cultures. I think it's fascinating to kind of look at all these things and see how things influence each other and influences based on other influences, and it's a tangled web we weave here.
I mean, like I said earlier, it is the ideas of Star Wars kind of weirdly in their most authentic form. I'm not going to say, oh, George distilled it or anything like that too much, but it is someone inspired by a different culture. Here's the actual culture doing it.
Right.
I agree with you, because you get this sense of like they're sort of like, especially the duel, it's like making a point of getting that message right, but it's not like in a preachy way. It just sort of feels like they're like, oh, we have the opportunity to sort of like hone it back to the essentials of what this dualistic philosophy is about, and it feels authentic. Yeah, because it is authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely. So the world and story of Kara and the Ninth Jedi will continue next year in Star Wars Visions Presents The Ninth Jedi. Release date and other details still to come.
The Ninth Jedi will return in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah. There you go, Ben. Let's move on to our final story for the evening. The Bounty Hunters by Wit Studio. Din, I think you're the only one that hasn't started us off yet, so you kick it off. What are your thoughts on the Bounty Hunters?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool episode. It wasn't maybe is. I think this is a continuation of The Village Bride, right?
No, that's a different one. That's a different one, I think.
That's the next four.
That's the next four. Okay, thank you, Joel. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think I don't know. I just thought this was actually just a cool story.
Yeah.
I think I overloaded my brain too much with the first episode. Now that we're at this one, I'm like, what do I say? What do I have to give here?
Hey, it was a cool story. I think like that. I think you do kind of you hit onto something there, and we can kind of go back to the droid conversation that we're having, because I think this droid, with the sort of its split personality of the medical droid and the kind of killer punk rock droid, Ronnie Chang, who voiced both of them, does phenomenal work.
Yeah.
Selling both sides of that character, and having the droid make the choice to go back and save the human after he finds the recording of the human getting in touch with the droid smith who was going to help the droid get the fix that it wanted. It was exactly what you were saying earlier about, like, people treating their droids with kindness, and that's who the droid remembered, and that's who he went back to help, instead of being a selfish little robot, like it could have been. Yeah, good story there.
Okay, so that's you just said what I wanted to say better than I could.
Boom, there you go. That's why I'm here. Chris, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, okay. First of all, glaringly, I don't know if I'm the only one who thought this, but I thought, to me, it seemed like the assassin side of the droid was the Terminator, and even to the voice itself sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, same. I thought like, oh man, they're turning. He's turning on the Arnold here.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious. I don't know if they were going for that in the Japanese version, but in the English version, certainly. I'm like, dang, is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? What's going on here? So that was really, really, really interesting. It was good, I think, to have an episode as well that didn't fully deal with Jedi as well, since there's been a lot of that in Vision. So I like that the bounty hunter side being explored a little bit more as well. And this episode, we were talking about the theming and how like the last season was very much about kind of liberation, and then this is about droids, and then the first one was kind of about like the light side and the dark side, and this one kind of really combined the liberation with the droids, because you have that subplot as well as and something that I think we've seen in Star Wars before of a bounty hunter who actually does have a moral compass getting hired to do something that is clearly immoral by someone, and then it's presented as, oh no, you're doing a moral thing, but then they realize through the process of it that they're not, which is, so you have that very liberation theme in this episode, which I think was kind of cool, and it just made for some really awesome action. We talked about the mecha element with the hero with the X-wing in the second episode, and now you have the mecha element with the villain being inside a droideka. Like that is cool. The idea of having a droideka mecha suit with an almost impenetrable shield with one weakness. Like I think that was very brilliant. I think destroyer droids are very underutilized, cool design in Star Wars. So I'm glad that these creators had their own take of them. So that was really cool. So just a very visually interesting, action oriented episode. Great underlying messages with that, humanization and compassion related to the relationship between droids and humans, and then that liberation of the people who were enslaved. Like a lot of great things mixed in to this episode, and once again, really entertaining, really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the way the one weakness to the droideka, the nice little Clone Wars reference, nice little nod back to the Onderon arc.
Heck yeah.
Joel, what did you think of the bounty hunters?
To build off something Din was talking about, the whole AI thing, my gosh, this villain gave me Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, tech bro vibes. And I'm gonna make you think, I think this is what Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg want to be. They would love to have a droideka mech in their arsenal. I mean, I would too, to be fair. So I think we all would love to have one. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. This douchey corporate tech bro guy who thinks like I'm hip and cool, and no, you're not. You're taking war orphans and enslaving kids. It's creepy. Very interesting. Again, like all of these, I'm very curious about kind of the wider lore implications. I mean, I guess it's kind of my thing. Who are the Bashar? Is that what they're called? The Bashar, like clearly the bounty hunter clearly was not part of a good organization and got freed by a Jedi. I almost thought for a second the Jedi was gonna be a bad person. It's like, oh, this is another Jedi gone rogue or something. It's like, oh no, actually, I guess the Jedi did what a good Jedi does and freed them and gave them a choice. So hooray. I thought that was interesting as well. Again, I did love the droid with the split personality and how they were just kind of feeling sick of their partner, like, fix me. And then they're like, I'm out of here, take the thing and run. Very interesting. And again, the giant droideka mech suit, that was awesome. That was just pure awesome. So yeah, I'd probably say this is probably like my second to last favorite. Like if I had to rank, it's probably Nice Jedi Duel, this one, and then the one with the X-Wing robot. But again, this is like 10 out of 10s all the way. So yeah, another great episode from Visions.
All right, Ben, give us your take on the bounty hunters.
Yeah, no, I mean, not much to say. I think everything else said all the good things about this episode. But I will add that, as I said off the top, I really liked this droid, like just the imagination of just like, because like Star Wars known for its funny droid sidekicks. Like it seems like Disney has been very much like, well, every Star Wars story has to have a funny droid sidekick, every single one. And that's mostly what we've gotten in the past 10, 15 years, which is fine. I'm not saying that there's a problem there, but things. But taking this and like, okay, it's a droid with a split personality, and he's got these multiple arms, and one is this like protocol pilot droid, and the other is this bounty hunter, and gave me very much HK-47 vibes in the sense that he was like, it's like, oh, designation, whatever else. Like he was kind of putting stuff before the verbiage was a little interesting, and very, very pleased to see Ronnie Chang in the credits, because this is his first ever Star Wars credit, and he deserves more. And he did this brilliantly. I love it.
Yeah, it was a very good, both sort of funny and heartfelt performance from Ronnie in particular, but also the whole cast.
Yeah,
did a very solid job. I kind of said what I was going to say when I was saying what Din wanted to say, so that kind of works out nicely. I enjoyed this one a lot. I thought it was a really fun adventure, and I feel like the worst thing you could say about a Star Wars Visions short is that it isn't a fun adventure, and thus far into the season we have not gotten one of those. And remembering that these are short films, they have 20-25 minutes max to tell a concise story. I think this one did a really, really solid job at doing that. And if we sort of took any of these stories out of the context of they were released amongst 9 other ones or 8 other ones, and just said, here is a fresh new Star Wars short film, animated short film on a random Wednesday, would friggin' love it. So yeah, absolutely enjoyed this. So that is where we will leave our Visions discussion for now. We'll return to this in the coming weeks to talk through the remaining 5 episodes. We will touch on the hunt for Ben Solo in just a second, because there's a couple of
He's
new
right
details.
here. He's right under you on the YouTube. You found him.
Some new details have come out about that. But before we do that, Din, you've brought a couple of clips for us.
I think I brought like 5, but you're gonna play a couple of them.
Yeah, we got 3. So why don't you set up the first?
I got a little overexcited. What's the first one we're looking at?
Let's do Hypogeum Blues first.
Okay, all right. So James Razzilli from Rebel Scum podcast, he reached out to me. He's been saying for years that he wants to direct a F-105 video. Actually, probably since the Souls. And so he approached me again recently, and I suggested this song because I thought the lyrics and the music was pretty cinematic. So I was just sort of excited to see what he would do with it. And here's a 1-minute clip of the second verse.
Second verse from the official music video for Subterranean Hypogeum Blues.
If you can, just try to keep your ear out for what I'm saying in the lyrics and what's happening with the visuals, because there's a cool moment.
All right, check it out. And if you're just listening, you'll hear the song, but no, you have to come back and watch the video to get the full effect.
Yeah.
Going down to weigh the heart, the light shines, the dark it hides, to be raised back up in the circle of shed skin, to begin again.
Yeah. There we go.
I just realized this was kind of my Morrissey song. I just realized the lyrics fit in going down to weigh the heart by the light it shines and the dark it hides, to be raised back up in the circle of shedding skin to begin again, which is actually in the lyrics of the whole song. I'm referencing like Christianity, Egyptian Book of the Dead, Taoism. So in the circle of shedding skin to begin again, that's the enso from the Japanese symbol, which is like they paint it like in the the calligraphy style, like with the black ink, whatever that's called. But it's basically like a circle, and one end would be like the snake's head, and one end is the tail. So that was a cool tie-in to these episodes. I didn't intend that, but there you go. And where he was filming on location in a park, I think he lives outside of Toronto, but the snake that's in, I thought he might have CG animated it or gotten a clip online from somewhere, but that snake actually appeared to him when he was filming it.
Awesome.
So it was like meant to be or something. It's how the Force works. It's how the Force works.
Hope he got okay. I hope he got out of there though after he filmed it. Like, oh no, snake, run!
He survived.
Dan, where can people see the full music video?
At YouTube at F105.
Boom. Let's go to Resistance Fest next. So first off, remind us, for anybody that didn't hear our show right before Resistance Fest, where we went over it and promoted it, remind folks what Resistance Fest was, and then set up this clip from Rebel Girl.
Okay, Resistance Fest was, I've been wanting to do a Star Wars festival for a long time, just to take Star Wars music events maybe to a place they hadn't been. It just dawned on me that the most obvious Star Wars event for me to do in this age of being threatened to become the 51st state would be Star Wars Music Festival that was also a political protest against the Empire, threatening to
as you do,
and very inspired by Andor at the time as well. So I recently had been asked to go on tour with one of the world's three main Irish punk bands, which is the Mahones. I went on tour with them in March. So I presented the idea to the lead singer of the Mahones, Finney. I want to do this event at the legendary Horseshoe Tavern, which is like the most popular rock club in Canada, and it's his favorite club as well, and my favorite club, and I just presented him with this crazy idea that I was sure he was going to say no to, which was to do a Star Wars / punk protest event against Drumpf, and he said yes, so it happened.
It happened, and we've got this clip.
This is the finale where I feel like I wanted to see a Star Wars event which wasn't just middle-aged white men with beer bellies playing cover tunes. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but there should be other people at events. So we had a young all-girls sort of punk Runaways type band that's just starting out from Kingston, Ontario come. We had Monica Mendoza, a young Asian musician who's really great. She's kind of like, sort of like reminds me of like a female Kurt Cobain or Trent Reznor or something, very emotional stuff. So they all came on stage for the last song, Rebel Girl.
So no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. That really was Kylo Ren on stage, air guitaring, and having a lightsaber duel.
We found
and
Ben
dancing.
Solo.
We found him. He was at the Horseshoe Tavern back in July, and we don't know where he's been since.
We had Blast Toronto, like an official Toronto media, come out to do an article, and the guy said he didn't get what the whole thing was about. I was like, okay, I got a no 51st state sticker on my punk vest, and we got the Empire on stage. What is there not to get here?
Oh my god!
Shout
I was
out!
really proud of that. That was a real rock and roll punk moment. That was great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And shout out to longtime friend of ours, Dan, who is the Kylo Ren you see on stage.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
Nice.
Bringing the Kylo energy to Resistance Fest. And finally, Joel, we're gonna make you answer for this one as the present co-host of Ion Cannon. Dan, is there anything that really just needs to be said to set this one up, or should we just roll it?
Well, if you're not a punk rock fan, I'll just explain to you that sort of just bouncing around and kicking your feet and jumping up and down became known as pogoing at punk shows, like in the late 70s. So here is the clone pogo.
Here's the clone pogo, and see if you can guess who's under the helmet. That would be one Matthew Nigebauer of Ion Cannon. Joel, as his co-host, let's get your review of his dance moves.
I just messaged him on Facebook right now. Just typed "clone pogo," and I'm hoping to hear back from him soon.
We gotta hashtag that. That's got to become something. We need Ben. We need Ben to do that.
As someone who
You're
can
our only
only
hope, Ben.
dance sitting down, I do not judge others' dance moves. So the fact you can dance with the helmet on and see is miracle enough.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, nobody should dance each other's dance moves, especially not at a concert. Everybody's there just to have fun. And I think Matt is embodying that perfectly as he pogos around with a Phase 1 clone trooper helmet on at Resistance Fest. Oh, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff.
We have another good Matt story, but we could save that for another time.
Yeah, I think that story is best told when he's here. There may yet be a future for Resistance Fest, and so we'll need to save some stories from the first one to tell while promoting the second one. Nice. So we'll leave that as a tease, unless you want to say more, Dan.
Well, there is. So next Resistance Fest 2026 is already going to be at least at Handlebar Toronto on it's my second favorite club. It's like a smaller horseshoe on Friday, May 1st. So it's going to be, that one's just going to be a Star Wars party.
Boom.
But I'm in talks to do the horseshoe again, maybe on Saturday if I could get another A-list punk act to headline and make that one the more political, punky protest one, Saturday, May 2. We'll see if that happens.
Cool.
But if you go to the f105.com, f105music.com website under more, there's a Resistance Fest webpage where you can read about 2025. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Keep your eyes and ears open for more Resistance Fest. May 2026. All right. Let's very quickly touch on this Ben Solo stuff because we've been going for a long time, but I feel like it would be wrong to ignore this these added details that we've learned about the hunt for Ben Solo since last week, which I think took up a good portion of the show last week, is this unmade Star Wars movie that Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh pitched to Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm liked it. They took it to Disney. Disney said no. Here's some more details from it via the playlist. This is all sort of production details. It doesn't really get into plot stuff, so no one have to worry about spoilers should this thing ever get made. Here's what the playlist says. The film operated under the production code name Quiet Leaves. It had a completed script by Scott Z. Burns, who I believe wrote is one of the writers on World War Z. Is that right? I might be wrong about that.
Probably.
Who received the highest screenwriting paycheck in Lucasfilm history. It was entering early prep and staffing stages and was ready to shoot at the time of cancellation.
Right.
Disney purchased a fully developed treatment and beat sheet from Soderbergh and Rebecca Blunt. The finished script, budget, and a proposed start date were delivered to Disney. And apparently Disney's decision to cancel it may have been, quote unquote, politically motivated, with Iger attempting to position Alan Bergman as his successor. Basically, Bergman, this was supposed to, test his mettle as to see whether or not, he's like the right guy to be making these decisions. So I think Iger left it to him. And he apparently took a really long time to read the script and then couldn't wrap his head around the Ben Solo being alive of it all. Interesting choice from Iger to leave it to somebody else to make that decision. Interesting choice from Bergman to make the decision he did. And if you're wondering about how the internal moves at Disney are going, Alan Bergman is no longer considered the front runner to replace Bob Iger. So way to go, Al.
Oh my God.
Well played.
One other detail that comes directly from Steven Soderbergh. He posted on Blue Sky that after the movie got rejected by Disney, he asked Kathleen Kennedy if a turned-in finished movie script for Greenlight, or if Lucasfilm had ever turned in a finished movie script for Greenlight to Disney and had it rejected. She said no, this was a first.
Wow.
I feel like I said everything I have to say about it last week, and nothing that has come out since then has changed my tune on it at all. I think it's ridiculous that this movie's not getting made. I think it's narrow-minded and short-sighted and speaks to far larger problems with the Walt Disney Company, the entertainment industry, and the current state of politics in the world. What do you guys think? What do we think of these details that we've got?
So we're saying that the only person that doesn't want this movie made is not even with Disney anymore.
Well,
No, they're still with them.
He's still with Disney. He just doesn't look like he's not. For a minute, he looked like he was on the fast track to the top job.
In the position that would have had the authority to make that decision, he's no longer in or being tested for. So that kind of sounds like, well, you need to change the decision that led to him not being given those responsibilities. That seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it feels pretty obvious. It feels pretty blatantly obvious.
Here's a question: do you think this film even is going to get made, or did Lucasfilm already changing the Ray film to start adding those elements into? Do you think that the plans are already being changed internally?
No.
I think they are.
They're not changing the Ray film based on this. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was thinking I'd add anything more to that, actually.
So my thing is, I don't think they're changing the Ray film. I think if they're changing the Ray film, it's in small ways. What is more likely, but sadly still very unlikely, is that they would go back to Driver and Soderbergh and say, okay, we've changed our mind. Let's do it again. Because part of the appeal of this movie is its creative team. It's Adam, it's Steven, it's Scott, it's Rebecca, it's all of those people that were working on this pitch and this script. And if you don't have them, it's harder to get it off the ground, because what got this movie anywhere close to being to even happen was Adam wanting to do it, and he wanted to do it his way. So I don't think you're going to go to him and say, I don't think he's going to be necessarily be the most excited about, hey, so you remember how that idea that you really liked and we really liked and Bob and Al didn't like, so we didn't do it. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got this other idea that they do like. He's not automatically going to say yes to that. You kind of have to now really would have to wow him. And it sounds like that's kind of a waste of energy, because you already have a script that everybody seemed to like. So if you want to go back on your decision, the easiest thing to do is to call up the guys and the folks that made this movie so far, or that got this project so far, and say, all right, let's change our mind. And then if you have to tweak something in the Ray movie, or you have to tweak something in Ken Burke's scripts for the future, you do that to reflect what's going on here. But I don't think they're going to just sort of incorporate Ben Solo. I don't think suddenly Sharmino Bay-Chinoy is just going to direct a remix of the Hunt for Ben Solo. I think she's still making a Ray movie, and someone else, namely Steven Soderbergh and Adam Driver, should make a Ben Solo movie, and then Simon Kinberg can look at what they both have done and go, all right, how do I bring this together and push it all forward to the next generation?
I'll tell you what they need to do.
Let's hear it, Dan.
They need to make The Hunt for Ben. It's like what I was saying about caring about characters. Like apparently the sequel trilogy was so expensive that, does anyone know the profit? Like the total profit for the sequel trilogy is pretty minimal. It's like a fraction compared to the other two trilogies. And they got to pay off on, even financially, on their investment, and emotionally with fandom on our emotional investments. So I think we need 3 movies that are low budget, that are just good stories. Hunt for Ben Solo, the Rey movie, and a Finn movie. Yeah. And the Finn movie has got to be a Ryan Coogler movie where he's training like Rocky to meet some sort of like challenge or duel at the end. Like it has to be like Ben laughed at my idea. That's okay. But I mean, like really make a movie that pays off on the potential and hope for that character that Boyega felt in the first movie, and that we all felt, because these guys are on fire to make Star Wars. Like, and there's a whole generation of fandom out there that wants the payoff for all that. So make one movie a year on those 3 characters, and give us a reason that we invested in the sequel trilogy.
There's no way they didn't double their money on BB-8 merchandise.
Okay, if you think about it, in this age that we are in right now of cinematic universes and franchises, literally all of them that will not die, no matter what, because they're money printing machines for these studios. They're gonna make an alien movie, a transfer movie, a whatever movie into the end of time. It's weird that they took Star Wars and they're like, let's build up all these characters and in these 3 movies, and then let's end it and forget all about these and toss these characters aside and not do anything with them ever again. It's kind of dumb if you think about it. Like the whole idea, just like, the Rise of Skywalker is going to be the end of the Skywalker saga. Like, I get trying to bring people into the theaters to say, like, this is the end. Come see the end of this thing, the finale or whatever else. But, you think, okay, well, now you want to continue that in some way. Do spin-off movies with these characters. They want to do spin-offs with the original trilogy characters. That's why we got Solo Star Wars stories. So why not continue that with other characters? And I think Rey Skywalker, New Jedi Order, that seemed like a natural progression of that. Like, pick up with her. Let's do a story about her. The Hunt for Ben Solo kind of makes sense. And I've heard some conflicting opinions about this. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I mean, Dom was always talking about, like, they have an opportunity to show what is it like then to exist. What does redemption mean if Darth Vader doesn't die? Like, show that, and then show Finn with a lightsaber. We all wanted to see that.
But I think
low budget.
Yeah. Alex.
That was part of that was part of the pitch of The Hunt for Ben Solo. It was going to be a lower budget than Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, Force Awakens. Like, it was going to be cheaper to be made.
Yeah. I think all of these films coming up are going to be cheaper, quite frankly. That's the vibe I get from Starfighter to Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
But I'm curious where their head's at now, because I feel like there has been I've heard some varied opinions. I think
their head is nowhere.
Alex from Star Wars Explained kind of put the idea that, like, Disney's been very reactionary. They kind of took the sequel, the backlash to the sequel trilogy very personally, and were like, well, the fans don't like those movies anymore. Let's move on. Like, they were with the prequel trilogy going into the sequel trilogy, so it makes sense. And then also, coupled with that, I think Ken Napzok from Force Center, he talked about how, like, maybe there was a reason. This was back in 2021, maybe, that they were working on this, and maybe Disney was gun shy about, like, well, we want to get Star Wars back in the theaters, but maybe Ben Solo is not the character we want to start with. Maybe we don't want to go into these things, but now they've got 2 movies already in the chamber. There's not as much pressure on it. That's why I think there is. Yes, I know it's a long shot, but I really do feel like they could still green light this. I think there's a possibility, or at the very least, seed it in New Jedi Order. Have something to do with that.
I think they could seed it in Ahsoka, honestly.
Yeah, you have Kinberg working on whatever he's working on. How is that going to? Are they going to, smash this all together into one big kind of series where they kind of all interconnect, and you have new Jedi Order starting off a story that maybe Ben Solo takes off on. Who knows?
I just want to say that, I think what I always found fascinating about the sequel trilogy, is I always felt like the sequels and the prequels almost have like this reverse polar thing. And I'm going to say something controversial among these parts. I think people love the sequel trilogy characters and fell in love with those characters way quicker than they did the prequels. Like, I think with the prequel, people like the plot. I think they like the ideas. I always put with characters like Anakin's annoying, Padme's bland. I don't really care about Mace Windu. Why are you wasting Samuel Jackson, etc., etc., etc. With the sequels, people always complain about the plot, what they did with Luke, Palpatine, that sort of thing. But it's like, everyone always said like, no, I love Rey, I love Finn, Poe, Rose, Kylo. I like these characters. I just think they're not in very good stories. And I feel like, that's why people want the characters back. It's like, I think people really love the characters, regardless of what they're doing. Like, Rey, Finn, and Poe go shopping. Let's watch that movie. I'd watch that movie.
And just to tie in a lot of it's been said all together here is like, I think the feeling you get from Driver in wanting to do this movie, he did it because he felt like there was unfinished business with Ben Solo. You ever listen to John Boyega talk? Dude would love to get another chance to do a Star Wars movie that he actually likes. I think John Boyega likes Star Wars a lot. But I think when John Boyega does a Star Wars marathon, he stops at 7. And I think obviously Daisy Ridley's already signed back on to do it, so she feels there's more to do here that's interesting. I think the actors are feeling the same thing that the fans are feeling. I think the audience senses that there's more to this story, even if you enjoy where it went, how it went, where it ended up. If you liked it, I think there is a feeling that there's more to be done here. There is more story to be told that I don't think other trilogies have had that feeling. It felt like they've reached a conclusion. Yes, the prequel trilogy leads into the original trilogy, so that's sort of not necessarily a conclusion, but it we may have wanted more stories with those characters, but it didn't feel like a necessity. I did feel coming out of Rise of Skywalker, and I'm pretty sure you can actually go back to an episode from like January 2020. We were doing a Q&A, and somebody asked, what would your dream next Star Wars movie be? And I said episode 10, because I wanted, like, I felt like there was unfinished business. I want something to continue these stories, because there's potential that has been left on the table. There's more interesting stories that can be told. And when you take it away from the people who are making the decisions based purely on nostalgia and what they think will bring them short-term gains, and think big picture, what will be better for the franchise long term, which is having people with a real investment in characters and stories that they will come back to time and time again, because that's what they've got with the OT audience, but that's only going to last for so long. And I'm not saying that because people are dying. I'm just saying that because it only goes to a certain point. That's why you need a new audience. And so you need to make, as Din said, a Rey movie, which they're doing, a Ben Solo movie, which they almost did, but for some reason didn't, and a Finn movie to kind of get us back on track with those characters, build on that goodwill that you are speaking of, Joel, and take this franchise actually into the future in a way that celebrates its past, yes, but sets up new things that 20 years from now, people will be talking about as nostalgically as we talk about the prequels or the OT.
This is
we can't care about the characters if we don't have time to grow with them too. That's my biggest thing with this Disney barrage. There's been so much great stuff, but I'm actually not watching any other TV because I'm realizing, if I watch Ahsoka again in 6 months, I'm rewatching stuff so that I'm growing with the stories and characters, and I'm starting to fall in love with them more. Even the Acolyte, I love that the second time, and I want to live with those characters. But if we just get rid of the sequel trilogy characters and we go into the Kinberg characters, and what if that doesn't work? They're going to start another trilogy with more new characters. We have no time to grow or love these characters because they're always just moving on to the next thing. And so they got to stop doing that, because that's not what George did. George let you live with the same few characters for decades.
And I'm weird about that, because I actually kind of hate that about George, but I also like but I also kind of agree.
But it works.
But
I know,
here's
but I
the
also
thing.
hate it too. It's weird. It's a weird kind of.
Here's
I
the
want
thing, though.
both.
Like,
I want
we
both.
have to acknowledge the reality of the entertainment industry that they're working in, and this is where a trio of movies like we just talked about can serve as a bridge from the sequel trilogy to the Kinberg movies, which will I'm
Don't forget
personally
Starfighter.
thinking of as 10, 11, 12 until they tell me not to. This will serve as a bridge. And yes, Joel, that's right. Starfighter will also play a role in that too, of getting us, along the timeline, yes, but just giving us more time with these characters to appreciate them and grow with them and love them.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on this show, but I'm going to kind of make a bold prediction right now, which you can then play back and tell me why I'm wrong. I am like, to quote K2, it's high, very high. I think there's a high chance Rey shows up at the end, Nick Fury style. Like, you think you're part of a new Jedi Order, you got an eye patch for some reason. It's like, but I legit, I do kind of think, people are already making comparisons to Din and Grogu of the kid and the main character, which I think, maybe a bit overstated, but who knows? I could see Rey pulling a Luke Skywalker saves the day, Mando season 2 ending style, and shows up and is like, I'm Rey, and welcome to the new Jedi Order.
Joel, I'm not expecting it, but I won't be surprised when it happens. if Daisy makes some kind of cameo in Starfighter. But we will continue to watch the hunt for Ben Solo story of its production and cancellation and whatever the hell else is going on with it. Hopefully it's revival with great interest in the coming weeks and months to come.
Sign the petition.
Yes, sign Ben's petition. You never know. Maybe that'll help.
We're 40 away from 5,000. Do it. Don't sign it.
There you go.
Really? You're 40 away? What?
Yeah.
Because if you get 5,000, they'll pay attention. They'll pay attention to that number. I think this movie's going to be made.
Magic number. Disney will personally have to respond once you get to 5,000.
No, but just but I heard somewhere about something else that when you get to a number like that, they do actually start to pay attention. Like, it's not going to be an automatic.
Bob, are you listening? Bob and Alan.
It's not going to be an automatic, like, we'll do it because of that. But if you get like those kinds of numbers, they'll notice it.
They'll look up. They'll look up from their desk.
I'll just say I know a little bit and just say they know what's going on. It hasn't shaken the needle, and I don't know what when obviously Bob is about to retire, so he's probably like, I don't care, peace out, I got my billions. It's Josh DeMario and Dana Walden's problem. But hey, maybe Din's right, 5,000. And maybe Josh will.
I was doing research for getting Star Wars 3D movies back into theaters and how many numbers I would need. It was about that. Like, I was doing research.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
and then I just thought, I'm no Ben Solo. Like, I don't have the will to start this petition and do it. Maybe you could do that for me, Ben.
Here's the thing. Just because it hasn't moved the needle yet, be it the hunt for Ben Solo, be it Star Wars 3D movies, doesn't mean it won't down the line. And so that's why you don't give up. You don't give up. But I think with that, we'll begin to wrap things up for this week.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in 7 days with another episode. We'll be back to talk about the final 5 episodes of Volume 3 of Star Wars Visions, which I'm excited to watch right after this podcast. So I'm really excited for that. Dom, thank you so much for hosting tonight.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was a nice little distraction between games 5 and 6. I'm looking forward to diving into the back half of season 3 of Visions. I've so enjoyed the first 4 that I'm really intrigued to see where we go in the next 5. But it's going to be a lot of fun. But it may, I will admit, it's a rarity for me where a Star Wars thing isn't top priority. But it may wait till Saturday, hopefully, or potentially Sunday as well. We'll see how the next couple of days go. But looking forward to that. Let's go Blue Jays, and see everybody next week, hopefully with a World Series championship trophy, another one in Toronto.
sports over Star
Follow
Wars.
Dominic at Dominic J25. The J stands for Jays. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it does.
Ben Solo, thank you for hosting as well. Thank you for letting us find you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good. Apologies for my subpar quality this week. My computer just crapped out. So it happens. Just the show goes on, and yes, please humor me. Humor my silly little petition. Go sign it. And who knows? It's amazingly more than a week away, still every few minutes getting a signature, which is kind of crazy because it topped my previous petition, which was successful. Clone Wars flew past that one. That one was 3,000. We're almost at 5,000 this one. So and that one was successful. So I think we've got a pretty good track record. I'm your good luck charm for petitions. Okay, just get with me, Raylos. Come on, we can do this.
Well, who was it? Was it IGN just mentioned it? This week, right?
It's got a lot of subtle media coverage. Everyone's they're like, oh, and they flew a thing over Burbank, and also there's a petition.
That's where these additional signatures are coming
back from. So
so
we're getting some whispers out there.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. At Ben Hart with no E's, where you can follow Ben on social media. Joel, thank you so much for joining us and talking animation with us.
Oh yeah, Dan was talking about how Visions could outshine a lot of Star Wars. I mean, I think for me, Visions already outshines almost all Star Wars. I maybe the original trilogy for me. I'd probably put Visions at the top of my favorite Star Wars things, even over the classics. That's how much I love anime so much. It was great talking to you all. Great set of episodes. Hope you enjoy the next set as well, because they're also great. And you can find me at JID20234 on Blue Sky. JID20234 on Blue Sky. I'm also on the Star Wars Underworld Discord server, game nights, anime nights, Dungeons and Dragons if you want to roleplay. And of course, you can find me on Mondays with co-host Matthew on the Ion Cannon podcast, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
I don't even need to do half the plugs because you just did those. So thank you, Joel, so much. And of course, Den, thank you so much for joining as well and talking all the wonderful philosophy of these episodes with us.
Thanks for having me. I was really itching to talk about the duel. Yeah, and show those videos that I'm really kind of proud of. And yeah. Remember, there's no. In this third dimensional reality, you don't have the ability to exercise your Force-given free will unless there is the dark and the light of which to make your choices from for your own evolution of soul and personality. Kids, that's all I'm trying to say. You can find me at F105 Music, and that's and then YouTube at F105.
And then also follow at Resistance Fest CA as well for further updates about 2026. So
thank you.
Make sure you check that out too. Thank you, everybody. And of course, make sure you hit subscribe on the way out. Thanks to our channel members for supporting us monthly with your subscriptions. Thanks to anybody that dropped us a review while listening to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcast catcher that you use to listen to us. And additionally, check out the Raeside, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, Tractor Beam, and more on the Star Wars Underworld Network, in addition to Ion Cannon. So that's it. We'll be back in 7 days. But until then, for Dom and Joel and Hannah and Tin and Ben, my name is Chris, and may the Force be with you.
It's a wrap.